Hello everyone, this is Dr. Lennon, and this is the introduction video. So I just want to walk you around the Blackboard course page that we'll be using for Math 252. So really of interest to us are only kind of four major areas. So announcements every week or periodically, if there's something that comes up, I'll post an announcement. So these get sent to your email. I'll post one shortly after I've posted this video, but your announcements area, you can always click there to see if there's anything new that I've said for the week. Generally, I'll post an announcement once I've posted a new video lecture or something like that. And then down here, there's these three important links. So course documents. So if you go to course documents, we should have the syllabus. Yeah, so the syllabus is there. So it's just a Word document. So let's see, let's go through this quickly. So I'm your instructor. I'm Dr. Lennon. I go by Jake Lennon, and you have my email there, Matthew.Lennon at cincinnati-state.edu. That's the best way to get in contact with me. Usually you want to use that instead of using like reply to announcements. Sometimes those get sent to my spam folder for whatever reason. So this course is a continuation of 251 if you took it at Cincinnati State, or Calculus 1 if you took it elsewhere. We'll go through the typical Calculus 2 syllabus. So there's 4 pages of the syllabus. You've got the learning outcomes, you've got the schedule, and then you've got the assessment portion. So the textbook we're using is the 3rd edition of Calculus Early Transcendentals by Briggs, Cochran, and so on. That is linked on MyMathlab, which we'll look at in a second. So you don't need to actually own a physical copy of the book. You can just own the ebook. If you do want to own a physical copy just to look through, sometimes it's useful to go back and get like the 2nd edition in terms of cost. It might be cheaper that way if you're just using it as a desk reference. But you will need to purchase the MyMathlab access code. So we'll look at that in a second. So the MyMathlab is linked to the Blackboard page that we'll look at in a second. I've got an optional tool listed as a graphing calculator. In class, that's more of a useful tool so you can do stuff from your desks, but since this is an online course, most of the graphical demonstrations I'll do, if I'm not graphing by hand, will be from the website I've written down there, desmos.com. So it's a really nice free website, and you can graph things and work with graphs there. The learning outcomes for this course will basically walk through antiderivatives. So you should have been exposed to that at the end of your Calculus 1 course. You should have done some basic antiderivatives, and I think probably gotten to the fundamental theorem of calculus, where you evaluated some integrals. And then we'll look at the end of this week the substitution rule, and then we'll move into solving DEs by separation of variables. Look at some applications of integration, evaluating some limits using L'Hopital's rule. So that's a trick using derivatives that allows us to evaluate simplified limits. Look at improper integrals, and then we'll get into the part where we look at sequences, series, Taylor polynomials, Maclaurin polynomials, stuff like that. So that's pretty much it for the scope of the course. It doesn't look like a lot here, but I promise you it's quite a bit. So the schedule, we're going to be operating on a 14-week schedule. So we have some flexibility. They told us, since this is kind of the first time they're doing this class online, since the transition to everything online, we've kind of got we can do the course as fast as 13 weeks, but 15 weeks kind of spills over. So my plan is to do it in 14 weeks, and I've got the sections listed that we'll be going through in the textbook kind of week by week. So the first week is going to be kind of fast-paced, since we're reviewing some topics that we've already seen, and then after that we'll slow down a bit. So kind of this material, I would say, we'll consider each compartment like a module. So it looks like essentially we'll be doing 8 modules of material in the course, and then there will be the final exam. So we'll throw 2 tests in there, and so that's the grading. We've got the homework, that's on MyMathlab, for each module, I'll also be doing a written homework. So what you'll do is you'll just upload that, and I'll make a video for how to submit those homeworks once I get the first one posted. Then we've got tests, which will be on MyMathlab as well, and the comprehensive final exam. The difference between tests and homework is the tests will be timed, and you'll have not an unlimited number of attempts to do it. Anyway, so that is that for the syllabus for the course. Let's take a look at MyMathlab. So back to Blackboard. Okay, so we've got two other links down here. So course modules is where I'll be putting all the content. So I've got the module 1 page right now, but that's all I've got there is links to the MyMathlab stuff. So there's two MyMathlab pages there that it takes you to. If this doesn't end up working out as well, I may have to adjust it. Anyway, so I'll fiddle with that a little bit later. But the other way to get to MyMathlab is go down here. So it looks a little funny right now because this is from the student preview, and you're not registered for MyMathlab yet from the student preview. So if you click MyMathlab, we should get to the same sort of page. It'll kick us to an external registration. So click MyMathlab, the same thing will happen. I think it'll first take us to this page. So you can always get to MyMathlab, course home, and content from here, or the assignments. So typically I like to go to the course home because you can see kind of everything. But anyway, the first time you click on it, it'll ask you to register. Now, if you took Calculus 1 and used the same book, then you should get access, continued access if you purchase the full year license. And if it's not letting you get into that, you may have to contact tech support. But if you've done this before, notice over here there's two options. If you want to purchase using a credit card, there's the student access, which is $104.99, or there's 18 weeks. So 18 weeks is typically one semester, which is a little bit cheaper. But if you purchase the top one, it should be good for a whole year. So if you did this for Calculus 1, you should be able to get into this no problem, just entering your typical information. So if you don't want to pay anything right now, if you're not sure what to do, you can click the temporary access link down here, and that'll allow you to get in to temporary access. And you may have to create a Pearson user profile, but I assume you've probably used this before. If not, you're going to have to enter your email and select a username and password and go through that way. But anyway, that's what you're going to do for logging into MyMathlab. So if you have any hiccups there, some problems that tend to arise if you click this and it sends you to some dead page or something like that, a lot of times you need to clear your temporary internet files. So that can be accomplished on Chrome by going up here and clicking history and clearing your temporary files. Another workaround I like is you can always open what's known as an incognito window. So on Chrome, there's a keyboard shortcut, Control-Shift-N, to do it that way. I assume there's some other ones if you're using Firefox or Safari. But if you do that, this is a browser that doesn't have browsing history, cookies, or site data, so typically it works better. So you can open up an Incognito Browser, log back into Blackboard, and click MyMathlab if you're having problems loading the page. That's just a typical kind of workaround. So let's see what that would actually look like. If I exit the student preview here, I can show you what the MyMathlab page looks like. So the module page should look like this. And if you click the module, for some reason it's bumping me out to Pearson, so I'm going to have to adjust that. My intent is to just have the content for the week in there, but so maybe I have to work with that. Anyhow, so this is our course page for MyMathlab. So you can access the textbook by clicking the interactive book or the static ebook. The interactive book just lets you go through chapter by section, so you can click the interactive ebook, and I guess that download something. I'm not exactly sure. What's the static ebook? Maybe that's easier. Yeah, the static ebook is the one I suppose I typically use. It just loads on the spot. You don't have to download any different software. Takes a minute, but if you're patient, it should load up. Yeah, and then you have the book. You can adjust the font, things like that. So if you want to go ahead and read through the book, you can do that. You can navigate to any section. So we're starting on 4.9, so you could say, okay, what's in 4.9? Let's look at this part of the textbook. And we see that we're starting with antiderivatives. So yeah, that's how you access the textbook. There's other ways as well. Assignments is where we'll see all of our homework and tests. Currently, I just have homework number 1 posted. So I have that due next Wednesday, 5/20. And for any question, there's a number of ways that you can get help if you're stuck. So you can go to question help. So this one just points you to the textbook. So usually there's something called view an example. So if we look back there at number 2, they're not showing any. Here we go. Number 3 finally has a view an example. View an example is typically helpful for a lot of students. It'll give you a problem with similar numbers where you can kind of click through and it'll explain step by step the process. If you go to textbook, it'll generally bring you to the section that's pertinent for the problem. If you click the textbook link down here, again, that's another way to get to the textbook. So it'll take a minute to load, but it should bring you to the appropriate section rather than the table of contents. As you can see, page 273 brings us back to antiderivatives where we were. Anyway, so that's the assignment. So these are basically just unlimited number of attempts. Let's say we want to try something and I don't know, we get it wrong. We're supposed to find the antiderivative here. Let's say, okay, maybe we think it's 3 tangent x or something. And we get it wrong. And say you try a bunch of things and you keep getting it wrong. It gives you 3 attempts and then it'll basically ask to reset the question. So you can click similar question and it'll give you a similar style problem. Usually it changes the numbers around here, but this time it didn't. And if you enter it correctly, let's see what happens. So we should have -3 cosine of x plus 7x plus c, I think. I don't know if they need a capital C or not. Let's try that one. Okay, so there we go. That's what it looks like when you get it correct. Anyhow, so that's it for getting set up. So again, just try to log on to MyMathlab. Make sure you can get in there because that's where the majority of our assignments are going to take place. And for the assignments that will be written, I will post another video about how that will go. Anyway, this is Dr. Lennon signing off, and good luck getting logged into MyMathlab.